Shahid Spectator.
It was the day of Vaisakhi, the most important festival in the Sikh calendar. And the people of Amritsar were congregating in the ground next to the holy golden temple. Everything was like as usual. This festival was going to be celebrated in a grand fashion. But there was something different on the agenda. The people who were congregating at that ground were also going to discuss and denounce the Rowlatt Act, which was passed by the British government. The Rowlatt Act was an inhuman act through which the British government could imprison any Indian national whom they suspected for almost 2 years without any trial. There were supposed to be meetings, there were supposed to be lectures, and there were supposed to be discussions. The day passed away without any incident. The children were playing, the men and women were talking in an animated fashion. Suddenly at 4:30 p.m., the entrance was blocked. A battalion of 90 soldiers, led by a man, came into the ground. The man was recognized by one and all. He was the very much feared General Reginald Dyer. And Dyer, without any warning, asked the troops to shoot. Suddenly bullets started spraying on the ground. People were running helter-skelter. Bodies were falling. Bones were broken. And blood was gushing out. There were wails and squeals everywhere. People were trying to climb up the narrow walls. There was only one exit. And that exit was blocked by the troops. People were trying to scale up the walls and were being shot. People jumped into the well to save their lives. They died because the well was too deep. After everything was said and done, after 10 minutes of non-stop shooting, after 1,650 rounds were shot, Dyer left the field with a smile on his face and a smirk. He left the ground and he left 1,000 people, almost 1,000 people dead and almost 1,100 injured. 120 bodies were excavated from that well. What happened afterwards? What happened to General Dyer? A commission was established and the commission was called the Hunter Commission and they investigated. And they asked General Dyer, you also took an armoured car to that field. Why didn't you take the armoured car inside? He said the entrance to that ground was very narrow, so I couldn't take the armoured car inside. But don't you feel like General Dyer? If you took the armoured car inside, you would have killed more people. General Dyer just said, so I would have killed more people. The British Lieutenant Governor of Punjab gave his overwhelming approval to General Dyer's actions. The British Lieutenant Governor at that point of time was Michael O'Dwyer. Michael O'Dwyer said, I, as the Lieutenant Governor of Punjab, approve your actions. You are correct in trying to put down the uprising. He received an overwhelming approval from the British public who said he protected the British Raj by quelling the uprising. Reginald Dyer went back to England as a hero. And at every point, Michael O'Dwyer endorsed Reginald Dyer's actions. He even received £26,000 in those days, which is equal to £1 million today, as a reward for his actions. He retired a rich man. But what happened to those people? What happened to all those people who were trampled? What happened to all those people who lost their lives? There is an old saying in English, don't hunt what you can't kill. There was somebody whom they left alive. There was somebody who was injured, but somebody who was not dead, who saw all this. And there was somebody in whom the anger simmered. He got up from that ground, picked up that soil soaked with blood, and then took it to the Golden Temple of Amritsar. There he swore an oath that the people who perpetrated this crime are going to pay, and jumped into the holy waters there and took his bath and said, I am not going to die until the people who committed this crime are going to die. And that man was Sher Singh, whom we all popularly know as Uddham Singh. Sher Singh was born in 1899 in a small town called Sunam. He lost his parents at a very young age. He was an orphan. He only had a brother, and he also lost his brother by the time he reached teenage. He brought himself up in an orphanage. For example, the circumstances in an orphanage you all know. You've got to have tremendous willpower to survive through orphanages. There in the orphanage, he was renamed Uddham Singh, and he was initiated into the Sikh rites. As a teenager, he passed matriculation, and on that fateful day, on April 13, 1919, Uddham Singh was there in Jallianwala Bagh serving water to all the people. And he saw that people were falling all around him. He himself was injured. After he recovered from his injuries, he found out, although Reginald Dyer shot the first bullet, there was somebody else who was pulling the strings behind him. And that was Michael O'Dwyer. And that man needed to pay. General Utham Singh then joined a group called Gadarites, which also incidentally had Bhagat Singh. He went to US to get arms into India. And when he smuggled arms into India, he was arrested and imprisoned for 4 years. While he was in prison, his friends Chandrasekhar Azad as well as Bhagat Singh were martyred. And he came out, he understood that what he had to do it very quickly. From Punjab, he went to Jammu and Kashmir, and from Jammu and Kashmir, nobody knows how, he smuggled himself into Germany, and from Germany he reached England in 1934. And for all of his travels, he earned money through the carpentry he knew. Remember, Utham Singh passed matriculation. He was well versed in English. So when he reached England, he dressed up as one of them, and he started searching for Michael O'Dwyer. And finally, after 6 years, he found Michael O'Dwyer at the Caxton Hall giving a speech at the East India Conference. After Michael O'Dwyer finished his speech and was coming down, this young man who was reading a book, General Utham Singh, I call him General, but he is Utham Singh, pulled out a revolver and said, "Michael!" and shot him 2 bullets. Michael O'Dwyer slumped there. And he was immediately arrested by the police. And this is what Utham Singh said when he was arrested. "I did it because I had a grudge against him. He deserved it. He was the real culprit. He wanted to crush the spirit of my people, so I crushed him. For 21 years, I've been trying to wreak vengeance. I'm happy that I've done the job. I'm not scared of death. I'm dying for the country." And gave up his life on the gallows for the country. Initially, people thought it was a murder, it was an assassinate. But I would say this, anybody who stands up to the iron fist of a blinded regime is not a murderer. He's not an assailant. He is a patriot. We are only free as long as our spirit is free. But when that spirit is crushed under the iron fist of some mindless people, somebody has to stand up. And Utham Singh stood up and made an example for all of us. And he told the whole world that an Indian will not be trampled upon. An Indian will rise up to show how strong they are. 20 years after he was executed, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru said, that man is Shaheed. He is Shaheed Utham Singh. And today on Independence Day, I salute the great martyr.